creamery every day. No.
Because alcohol is
Edition. I challenge you today. Yes. I challenge you to lift up, to increase your energy just for today. Listen, just for today, I need your energy to be at a 10. All right, I need you to take this. If your energy has not been at a 10 yet, I want you to elevate that, because with energy becomes clarity, with clarity becomes confidence, and with confidence, we are taking action. We are making huge impacts in our community. So bring the energy up. Don't be afraid. Stand up, move around, and take action today. I'm excited. Welcome to Real Estate Investing Live with Brent Daniels, a.k.a. Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. I'm excited about this show. This show is going to be next level, right? This is one of those mind-expanding, bigger thinking, look behind the curtain at what a multi-million-dollar real estate wholesaling business looks like. Not only that, but how do you cherry pick some of those deals to build your own wealth? Because the show is not just about wholesaling, it's about real estate investing and building wealth. But let's look at this, all right? Let's look at this. reading this book, right? We've all read it. I mean, I would say that 90% of the interviews that I do on Wholesaling Inc., people have read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It turned something on. It was like a light switch in their brain, and they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. I don't want to be an employee. I want to work for myself. I want to build a business, and then I want to be an investor, right? So take a look at this, all right? This is where we start. We start right here, right? This is from this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. We start getting into the cash flow quadrant. How does cash flow in a professional setting? First, you've got your employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. Now, when you make the decision to become a real estate entrepreneur, you really get into this spot, right? Typically, you don't have the funds yet to really be a business owner. You don't have the systems in place. You don't have the operations in place. You don't have the accountability structure set up so that you can truly be a business owner and kind of pull yourself out as the visionary and really the one that sees the goals, sees the big goals, but you don't really have the day-to-day details, nuances put together yet. So you're in there, right? You start out, you're doing this part-time, you're making calls, you're texting, you're following up with leads, you're going on the appointments, you're getting these properties under contract. This is being a self-employed person, right? This is like, I always put this into this context. This is LeBron James, right? LeBron gets paid to dribble basketball, shoot it, do amazing things, be a athlete, right? He's self-employed at that point, all right? He's working for himself, essentially. He's not the business owner. The business owner is the Lakers, okay? That's the difference here, right? There's a big difference on what that looks like, because here you can only get paid based on your own efforts. So then you start building and you start replacing your income and you start doing this full time, which means you put more effort and action into it, which means that you get more results, which means that your bank account gets the 4 H's. What are those? Happy, heavy, and happy, right? Healthy, happy, heavy, right? Yeah, one of those? Yeah, Mike's dying. Anyway, that you start building that up, and then all of a sudden you become a business owner. Oh, yeah. And then it looks like this. This is how a business structure is, right? You've got the visionary. You've got the integrator, right? This is the person that takes this and really keeps things accountable, really sets up, really is running things, really making sure that all the operations are running smoothly, everything's greased and running smoothly. And then you got 3 parts of your business: sales and marketing. That's obvious. We know what that is. The operations, we know what that is. That's making sure that all of these transactions, all of these deals are getting done. That's picking out contractors. If you're doing flips, that's property management. All of those things is on operations. And then you've got finance, which makes sure that you have enough cash to be able to do what you need to do to fund your business and invest into assets as a business. But what usually happens here, let me explain something. This is what's happened to me. This is what happens to most people as they're really growing a business. Somebody's this, and then a 50-50 business partner is this. That's the truth, right? Listen, he's better at the numbers, he's more reliable, he's more analytical, and she is the one with the big vision, right? And she's the one that has these good goals and big plans and knows how to push and is going and really is like the leader and really bringing that energy and enthusiasm. And then this guy is the one that is making sure everything's getting done, right? And typically this is a 50-50 partnership. But if you've been watching a lot of, content on this channel or whatever else, that 50-50 is rough for me, right? This is what I did for a long time. And when I started coaching, this is what I was at. I had a business partner called Dustin. And when I started coaching in 2017, he's like, you know what? I don't want to get into that. I just want to run a little business. I don't want this thing to get big. I just want to do my thing. And so he bounced, right? So then I started playing both of these. Right, I started getting into both of these, and I had my dad who was coming in. He's had a ton of business experience. He was coming in, he was helping out, and he was getting into this role. It was a couple of years later, it was 2019. I was very excited. This is my dad. We've never worked together. It's fantastic. And then he looked at me and he's like, Brent, honestly, I'm 65 years old. You're running at a fast pace. Like, I want to travel with your mom. I want to do things. So at that same time, good friends of mine, Cody Hoffine and Mark Stuber, were putting together a franchise called Joe Homebuyer. And it was a perfect marriage. We had really, really, really close, common, like big, I don't even, what would you say? What would you call it? Like the same ideals, synergy, like the same way business processes, being very proactive, bringing a lot of energy to this business. So I bought a Joe Homebuyer and integrated into here, and that's who I have on the show today is Mark Stuber, Joe Homebuyer. Come on in. Do we have some?
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you on here. And I think it's really important to realize, you could put that back, Matt, really important to realize that most businesses, as we're building in a wholesaling side, we kind of get to a certain threshold, and then there's no, you don't really sell it, right? It's not really an asset. You've got your buyers, and you've got your people,
Your system,
but you're not
sure.
really building a business, right?
Right.
So what made you like put this thing together? And well, first of all, how much business do you guys do in Utah?
So Utah has been where we started. We actually have an operation in Dallas as well. Cody Hoffine and I, and that's where we started about 6 years ago. And pretty quickly, we did some pretty special things in Utah, captured a lot of market share. And as a franchise, I technically can't quote specific numbers because I can't sell a dream that is or misrepresent. But I will tell you that we've done some pretty special things. We have a nice, healthy percentage of market share in Utah. And we build a business, to your point on the quadrants there, we build a business. We have an incredible team, as do you, Brent.
Yeah.
You have an incredible team, and that's made all the difference.
Yeah.
Is the people on your team and building a team so you can actually be a business owner.
Got it.
It's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun watching it grow over the last 18 months. I mean, it's just kind of, how many franchises
You're knocking
are there
out of
now?
the park. So we have over 30 franchises. As far as other commitments, we fully anticipate to have 50 franchise territories by the end of the year.
So what does that mean? I mean, what do you get into? What are you doing? I mean, how is it different than just building a business?
Well, we very much want people to experience the same success that we've had in our markets, and they can be us in their market.
Yeah.
So we can help them, dial up the precision, the extra techniques that make the biggest difference in marketing, in acquisitions, and dispositions, help them capture as much revenue as possible. So it's turning everything into a systematic process so that they aren't having to run it. We have some franchisees that actually have general managers running their whole the entire show. They hire acquisition managers. There you go.
Jackie.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Case in point. You have integrators. You have your team.
No, on this show, I
general
bring on Jackie, I bring on Jeremy, I bring on Ryan, bring on Chad. It's been really great. But kind of give us this progression, because I think, a lot of the people that are watching this live and commenting, and guys, make sure that you put in your questions. Treat this like a regular show with Mark here as an expert to be able to answer some of these questions that you have. But how do you go from just getting started? What were you doing? You just started it up, and then all of a sudden you've got 30 franchises?
Yeah,
from the beginning, like, how did you start doing your first deals?
Yes.
And how did that snowball?
So for specifically franchising, it's a little bit of a process to get a franchising underway, as far as all the logistics with paperwork and I mean, it's a big deal in terms of the behind the scenes activity. But we realized that, hey, we had some unique results that we were producing. So we thought, hey, how cool would it be if we could build a system that others could tap into, a systematic business that, almost like a business in a box, where they could tap in and utilize the best practices in each of the critical components of the business. And so, in the early days, we thought, all right, let's start with just, you, Brent, and I were one of the first franchisees. We came to you, and obviously we stayed in close touch, and it was like, hey, Brent, here's what we're doing. And it was fun. It seemed like a few times a year, we would talk anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? How things going? You'd reach out to me, I'd reach out to you. What's kind of the heartbeat and what are you experiencing? And it just made sense at that point to say, hey, let me run with your incredible team, Jackie, Ryan, you have Chad and Jeremy. I mean, just incredible team. Yeah. And for us to hopefully, share some of the best practices that we're applying and learning so that you could master the coaching and we could focus on the different details of the business. Be that integrator that you're talking about.
Love it. What's working right now?
Marketing-wise?
Yes. I mean, listen, as we're starting this out, lead generation is everything. Right? I mean, most of the people watching this, it's about lead generation. It's about being proactive.
It is.
In the beginning, when you don't want to spend a ton, You got to be proactive. If you or if you don't have a lot of capital,
That's right.
You've got to go out there and you've got to pick up the phone and you've got to find opportunities or go to the doors, knock on those doors. And which you guys have done a lot of. But what's working right now? You got 30 franchises around the country. What is truly working from a high level so that everybody's kind of, most up to date?
Well, and this is too easy of an answer, but it's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Everything's working, and
Okay.
it's accompanied by action. Those that take consistent action are getting results.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're knocking on doors or driving for dollars and making the calls to the addresses that you pinned, you're going to get results if you stay consistent with it.
Yep.
But it's that component of consistent action, right? So you say, well, what's working? So within the Joe process, we're really big on consistency.
Yeah.
So sticking with your marketing channels, seeing through the lulls, because I'll tell you, we have web that's knocking out of the park one month, and then it will kind of
Like
have
pay-per-click,
Facebook,
ads.
any of the components online, and it will literally be just, it looks like, we're going to sell off into the sunset because it's going so well. And then the next month it kind of tapers off. But because we have multiple marketing channels, we remain consistent. We're able to see through kind of the lulls. Is that the way you say that word? Lulls?
Yeah,
the
I think
downturn?
so. I think so. Yeah.
We're on the same page. All right. So, those downturns, because you have another marketing channel that's consistent and affords you the luxury of consistent and almost predictable revenue. But everything's accompanied by action and consistency.
So if people are starting out, what's the best bang for their buck, in your opinion?
I really do like just the hard knocks for two reasons. I like to condition the brain that, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a deal. So the idea that I'm just going to knock on doors, I'm going to drive for dollars, I'm just going to get out and meet and talk to people.
Yep.
And the truth is, you will find deals, and you can make massive profits on just these granular efforts. And so I would tell you that, it sounds too simple, and it's not easy, by the way. It takes a lot of work, but it's super simple.
Right.
But definitely not easy. You're going to be knocking on doors. You're going to be visiting these distressed homes. You're going to be skip tracing for, addresses. These are the activities that if you want to get into the business, if you want to learn how to do, because it not only conditions your brain of like, hey, I'm going to work hard. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to find that deal. It then sets the tone for the rest of the business so that when some of the other systems and processes flow a little easier, you've still conditioned yourself that I'm going to do whatever it takes to build a business. I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to be in the grind.
Love it. Love it. So knock doors. Pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone.
Be
knock
proactive.
doors. It's all those things.
Are you saying talking to people?
It's
Come on.
TTP, baby. It's TTP.
That's
That's
awesome. How big is your company? Your specific wholesaling company.
Yeah, so
real
we've got
estate investing company.
Yeah, between our two operations in Utah and Texas, we have about 20 people. We've got about 5 or 6 callers that are doing immediately for our operation that do outbound calling, the TTP.
Yep.
Method. It definitely has an incredible influence in the Joe Homebuyer method. TTP has a huge impact. But overall, we're 25 people. We have some great. In fact, I would tell you that acquisitions is a fun topic at some point here. That we have some incredible acquisition guys.
Talk to me.
So I'm a big guy of, all right, some of our franchisees are just natural sales guys. They're comfortable in the living room. They enjoy, the hustle. They enjoy the grind of a sell.
Yep.
And others aren't, but they know that how important. I would tell you that if you want to have exceptional results, you need to develop the sales skills. The meeting with people, enjoying, sitting down, making that human connection.
Do you think that that's a natural thing, or do you think that that's something that can be learned?
The closing techniques, okay, this is according to Mark Stuber.
Okay.
I think the closing techniques can be taught.
Did you just third person yourself?
I think so. I really wanted to emphasize it here. So.
All right.
This is according to Mark Stuber. But I do think a lot of them can be taught. I will tell you there's certain behavioral characteristics that some of us have.
Yeah.
And I guess I just lump myself into that as well. Yeah. Some of us have. But that just feel more comfortable and it's more intuitive. Others have to really practice and train themselves. For example, when a seller says no, do they actually hear the no, or do they say, all right, that's just a little bump in the road. We'll get around that type of thing. Or do they actually just, all right, we'll close up shop today and we'll come back to live another day.
Yeah.
That type of thing, you have to train yourself to see through that no and to really, put yourself in a position that, no, I'm going to see through that and I'm going to get to the finish line and I'm going to accomplish the mission of getting the contract.
Got it.
So the simple answer is I think it can be learned, but some are going to have a harder time than others developing those skills.
How do you develop somebody? How do they practice it? And guys, we're going to go for a couple more minutes. Just back and forth here. Then we're going to open it up to questions. This is your show, so make sure that you're asking questions in the comments. Make sure that you're posting any deals that you locked up or what you have made, because I've got that bell and it is lonely and it wants to sing. All right, it wants to sing today as often as possible. So make sure that you put it in so we can recognize you for your success. But just a couple more minutes back and forth, and we're going to open this up. But if somebody's sitting down or somebody's watching this and they're like, you know what, I feel like I'm okay if I get in front of people, but I get very nervous about closing. I get very nervous about asking them to sign a contract. I get very nervous about, when they do tell me no, I want to back off. I don't want to pressure them. I don't want to pressure them. I don't want to pressure them.
Right.
And and listen, if you have pre-qualified, the closing should be pretty natural. If you know the condition, if you know the timeline, if you know the motivation, and you know the price, you should be moving towards. It's really tough to really screw up a motivated seller, but you guys are really pulling deals out of people that they're trying to get multiple offers. They're trying to kind of ghost you a little bit. They're kind of, you know what I mean? So in that,
it takes a lot of hustle. So in the Joe Homebuyer system, we talk about the do's and don'ts of acquisitions.
Okay.
And one of the do's specific is you've got to make that human connection. And again, everybody's like, okay, that's obvious. But if you don't actually make it about the property or about the price, but you make it about solving their problem and connecting with them, that is going to give you the opportunity to have a lasting connection that is going to give you leaps and bounds, that put you leaps and bounds ahead of the iBuyer or anybody else that's shown up to the property. And again, it's one of those things where, oh, Mark, that sounds so cute. You hug and kiss whatever, you greet the person, you love them. But at the end of the day, I actually truly believe that if you're more concerned about, all right, what's going on in this person's life? How can I solve their problem? What is the ways that I can actually work to solve this person, get them out of their distress situation? And you actually make that the focal point. I'm convinced
that's going to,
yeah.
Now we're cooking.
It's going to put you in a place to succeed.
Yeah, no, I love that because you said something really important there. You have to focus on the problem. There has to be a problem.
There is.
There has to be motivation.
Right.
There has to be a problem that we can solve. They have to have a reason why they want to trade potential equity or equity for speed and convenience. There has to be.
Or they're not we can't provide a service to somebody that doesn't have
That's
that.
right. So stop forcing it. Like listen to me.
That's right.
Get rid of the leads that will never do business with you, because they're just wasting your time and they're making you feel comfortable that you have enough leads in your pipeline to hit your goals. But that's just how you get lulled into sleep.
Right.
I mean, that's how you get lulled into just not building that consistency in your business, is because you're focusing on leads that'll never do business. So really, if anything, from the first 20 minutes, 21 minutes of the show, if you've got leads in your pipeline that you're like, you've got that gut instinct, you're like, these leads want retail, or they're just kind of fishing for an offer, or they're just kind of tire kicking, get rid of them. Get rid of them. I don't care if it's all of them. Get rid of them and reload up with people that really have some motivation, really have a problem that can be solved with a cash offer. All right? That is what we focus on. I'm telling you, if you learn that early on, you are going to build a lot faster, way faster, because you're going to be focused on people that you can really, really work with and help out.
It's so true. Yeah, I had a franchisee call me the other day, and he's like, hey, this person's so motivated. They're like through the roof motivated. And I said, okay, why? And he's like, well, they called me back. They're really pursuing me. They really want to sell their home. And I'm thinking, okay, great. Tell me more. But what's their why? Why do they want to sell to you for cash? Well, the home's worth $400,000 and they want $400,000. And it's like, okay.
This happens every day, but it happens every day. Everybody watching this is going like this. Yep. Yeah, I had that conversation yesterday. Yep.
Okay, well, why do they want to move? Well, they convenience. They're 45 minutes, commute every day. So, but they're super motivated. They want somebody to say, okay, we need to take a step back and say, all right, what is the actual driver to sell to you for cash?
Yep.
And are they willing to sacrifice a retail price for the convenience you can provide? If they can't, that's okay. You don't blame them. They should go get full retail. But if you can provide them a value, a service, but it has to look like, you relieve them of some type of, maybe the commute is one aspect of it, but, condition related, as you've always talked about. But it could be anything. It could be something as simple as, I hate realtors. I can't imagine, anybody come through my home. It has to be intensified by an actual cause or purpose. And we can challenge ourselves with questions like, well, does it actually benefit you to sell for cash if it's not a full tail price or retail price? Or have you considered putting on the market with a realtor? Some people are worried that, oh, I'm going to push them away and they're not going to or I'm going to shove them to a realtor and now they're not my customer. No, if they were going to use a realtor, they were going to use a realtor anyway.
Listen, yeah, it's not like you say, hey, have you thought about listing? They're like, what? I never thought of that. What an incredible idea. Thank you for coming to my house.
Do you think they raise their eyebrow like that when they do it?
They're like, no. Anyway, let's open this thing up. Let's crack this thing up. We've been going. Let's crack this thing open to questions, guys.
So,
take advantage. Go ahead, Mike.
So I got a question. So because we're getting a lot of questions, where can people find out about Joe Homebuyer, right, and learn more about it, see if it might be a good fit, and ask questions and all that other good stuff?
Yes.
Do we have that little scroller? Matt, do you have it? Can you make a scroller? Okay.
Yeah, check us out, thejoeway.com/TTP.
That's right.
We'd love to chat with you. I'd love to chat with you personally.
Yep.
So thank you for asking, Mike.
Yep.
Would love to chat with you about
We'll scroll that. You guys will have it. It'll be in the show notes as well.
What is it again?
thejoeway.com/TTP.
Awesome. Let's get into some nitty gritty. All right, Nick. Also, I'm having trouble. I feel like this is a second part, but we'll go with this one first. Also, I'm having trouble finding out which comps is best if there are multiple similar ones close to the subject property. Would I go by which one is the closest square footage to the subject? So this is a valuation, right?
Yeah.
So you know as well as I do, when we're starting out, deal or no deal is critical, right? And so really breaking down and understanding the comps. What would you think if you've got multiple similar comps here? You're looking for, what are you looking for to see which one is the right one to pull to get the actual value?
And hopefully I answer your question, Nick. And Brent, help me out here. I have a thought on this. But first off, I want to know, is this a wholesale? So if I go into the mindset it's a wholesale, I don't want to overthink the comp part of it anyway. And I know you want a specific answer, so let's get into that.
No.
But I almost don't really want to overanalyze what it's worth. In the Joe Homebuyer system is 5-minute comps. You get 5 minutes to evaluate the property. That's it. Because past that, I don't care if it's worth $280 or $325. I just need to know it's worth something, and then I go out and meet with the seller. I make a human connection, and I get the deal done. So you need to know, yes, conceptually, square footage is important, but you've only got 5 minutes to assess it. So pick one or the other and get a value and move on, type thing.
So a couple different things, Nick. What I like to do is first we need to know how much does the seller want. Right? We need to try to pull out what are the expectations for the price from the actual property owner. All right? Next thing to do, very simply, if you have PropStream, it's very easy to do. If you don't, you can go to Redfin and Zillow. And what I like to do is Redfin, Zillow, and PropStream, take all three of their estimated values and combine it and divide it by 3. All right? That's going to give you kind of a really good idea of what the ARV will be there. And then remember, we go back to the breakdown. If it's above 250,000, we want to be about 66%. If it's below, we want to be 50%. And if it's below 100,000, we want to be at 25%. That's going to give you good guidelines. I'm going to put that on the board when Mark answers the next question, just so that everybody sees that. And or do we have a graphic of that, or is it no? It's just on there. So I'll just put it on the board on the next question. But Nick, basically, don't get too crazy with the comps. You need to know, 1, how much they want, and 2, you're not an appraiser, right? You were just looking to get this to see what their expectations are, get a good idea of value, and then run from there. All right. Good question though. Oh, there it is. Okay, from IG, CMT Morales. Is it okay to be working in 2 different markets at a time? Speaking of somebody that, well, I work in 2 different markets. I work, I work all of Arizona, which is different markets, but I also work some in Florida as well. But why don't you talk? I'm going to put these calculations up here.
So I really like the value of having multiple markets because you can utilize the same team and actually, have success in multiple markets leveraging the same staff, right? So that in of itself is a no-brainer. The one part that you have to ask yourself is, am I in a position that I can manage 2 activities? So, for example, Cody and I running rampant create a great business year one in Utah, and we think, all right, we know everything. We've been in business a full year. So we say, all right, let's move to Indiana. We're going to bring on another market, and we've literally been doing this for 18 months max, 16 months. And we say, all right, we're going to go open up Indiana. Well, we actually started having success in Indiana. Like literally, we were buying houses. Man, you can buy some, inexpensive properties in Indiana. We were finding cash buyers. We were, wholesaling them. We were making money. What I failed to mention is our team the infrastructure wasn't built yet to support 2 markets. And so our Utah market started to suffer. It ended up being a distraction. So conceptually, leveraging one team or staff to be in multiple markets is a no-brainer. But is your team postured? Have you captured enough market share in your initial market that it even makes sense to expand? Those are the couple questions I would ask.
Also, if you were just getting started out and you're wondering, does this market work better than this market? Test them. That's the beautiful thing about being proactive is you can pull, and my suggestion is this, you pull 300 addresses over here, 300 addresses over here. You could do tired landlord. You could do tired multifamily. You could do vacant land. You could do some driving for dollars as long as you don't get too stuck, building up that 300 list. And I don't want you spending the next 6 weeks building a virtual driving for dollars list of 300 addresses. Pull 300 addresses. Pull another 300 addresses and then just test it out. Pick up the phone, call, and see, am I having a better conversation over here than I am over here? What are the price points? What I will say is this, keep your price points above $150,000 ARV. Listen to me,
That's a nugget. That's important.
I am telling you, it is the same amount of effort to do a deal at $500,000 as it is $25,000. But the issue is at $500,000, you're typically going to make 10%, right?
That's right.
Typically, pretty close. Sometimes even more. At $25,000, you're going to make about 10%. You know what I mean? So it's like you can make $2,500 or you can make $50,000. Where do you want to spend your efforts? They're the same amount of efforts. If it's a distressed property owner, it's a distressed property owner. Stay focused in areas that are above $150,000. I know. Listen to me. I know it feels so good talking to those property owners that are under $100,000 and they're just like can't wait for somebody to take this off of their hands. But there's a reason for that. The market isn't huge for that, and the amount of the spread that you can get is much smaller. But let me hit on this real quick just to make sure that it's clear. Watch out, Mark. Your head's kind of in the way. If it's above 250. You want 66% is pretty typical of where your your price to that property owner is going to be. If it's 250,000, 249 or less, it'll be 50%. And if it's 100,000 or less, you want to be typically around 25%. Now listen, guys, this isn't perfect. This is just a guideline. This is just to understand. If you're using this, the conversation that you're having with the property owner is not, hey, property owner, I can give you 66% of 250. It is, hey, homes similar to yours your neighbors that are similar property, similar condition to yours are selling for around 66%. And by the way, you will always find neighbors that have sold in these marketplaces within a mile radius, typically, unless it's really rural. But in many cities, you're going to find this. So it's not like you're just out there just BSing them. This is real life, and you just throw it out and you give them the range to try to pull out that price from them to make sure that you're not wasting your time. Does that make sense, Mike?
So it does, but I want to circle back. So pulling quick comps, you got 5 minutes to pull comps and make a quick offer, right? So what you did is you took an average of the Zillow's estimate, the Redfin estimate, and the PropStream average sales price, right? And then let's say it's $250,000. That's the average. Mm-hmm. The price that you would quote the motivated seller, the distressed property owner, would be 66% of $250,000.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Boom. Awesome. Good question. Yeah, Kenny. Thank you. You know what? We got to tell Alex this, Daniel. You know what I mean? Alex came in here just hating on the Magneto. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it. It's the new addition. We've got.
Alex doesn't have one like that.
No. Yeah. He's just jealous. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it is. And I was explaining why we have Magneto in here. When you go out and have that energizing enthusiasm for this business, you become a magnet for other people, for really incredible talent for your company, for really incredible people to squad up and push you to the next level. I mean, this is how you network, is be magneto by having that energizing enthusiasm. You have that energizing enthusiasm by confidence. You get confidence by taking sustainable action every single day and getting the results. And that's how you become magneto. It's just picking up the phone. It's just talking to people.
Well, we actually had a conversation yesterday morning with our team, our sales team, about mindset, going into an appointment with the right mindset. We actually captured some information from a doctor by the name of Craig Manning. He actually worked with the Milwaukee Bucks to help them navigate. I know. Actually, this is like, I shouldn't even be bringing that up in Phoenix.
Jeez Louise. It's still fresh, man.
It's still fresh. Too soon.
My sons, man.
But he worked with them, and he specifically talked about how he got them in a mental state that they could be at their best.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that, the magneto, another way that I think of it, and one of the principles he taught is, to be proactive.
Yep.
This, that you go out there and, in these high pressure situations, or if you're nervous, which you should be. I even go on appointments, Brent, if I'm with my team or training one of my acquisition guys. I'd be lying if I said my heart rate doesn't go up when it's time to set an anchor price, or when I'm soliciting a no in that negotiation. But you have to have the right mindset. Go in, be proactive, be energetic. I love how you tie that in magneto.
But there is a beautiful transition. When you're starting out, there is a nervous excitement, right? And then that just turns into excitement. You just get excited about it. You know what I mean? I remember going on appointments, and I'm 22 years old, 23 years old, shaking. I had no idea. Like, I was like really nervous, like super nervous.
Right.
And then you go on enough, you get enough reps, you have enough conversations with people. That's why I always, just to go on this track for a second, I always challenge people to talk to 1,000 property owners, have 1,000 conversations, right, when you're calling before you hire anyone, because it builds in that unbelievable amount of endurance and experience to speak with strangers about real estate.
That's what it is. I love
and
that.
Once you do that, you feel bulletproof. You get that excitement. Those butterflies start turning into, like, I don't know, bees or something. You know what I mean?
But you turn, you think of superheroes. They're super proactive. They're super energetic.
Yeah.
And I love this magneto. Yeah, it's almost like they put on that armor that you're talking about, because now they have the experience. And although you might still have a nervous energy, you have the confidence to succeed in that setting.
It's certainty.
It's certainty.
You get certainty. Yep.
I love it.
Oh boy. Yep. Come on, Cody. Come on, man.
What's up, brother?
You know what's up. Yeah. Cody. Hilarious.
I think we better settle
Thanks
this.
for joining us. It'd be a bad deal for you. It's going to be a bad deal. All right, we'll see what the comments say. Anyway, I close fast. On average, what's a good percentage to save for taxes as a wholesaler? Well, first of all, we're not a CPA, so definitely talk to a CPA. I close fast, but I always just personally
What's
in our
with the
business.
disclosure, man? This is your chance to say, hey, look, I'm a numbers guy. I'll tell you right now the exact percentage.
Go.
No, I'm saying you.
I'm not a numbers guy. You're the numbers guy. Listen,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No,
for
I
giving
know.
The disclosure.
I literally just, I've always been taught, put 30% away.
Yeah, that's a safe number.
Then have your accountant go through, get you as many deductions as possible, and then you're pleasantly surprised that you get an extra bonus at the end of the year if you've been saving that up. Yeah.
That's a good number.
Yep.
And you're smart for asking the question, because
most people don't.
Yeah. Do you remember Darren Hardy's book, Compound Effect?
Yeah.
He's working with a client, and he's killing it in real estate. And he says, all right, are you keeping setting money aside for taxes? And the dude's like, no. Or no, in fact, it might have been Darren himself.
Yeah.
That he realized he had to learn the hard way. In fact, I think he was telling a personal story. So you're smart for thinking ahead, because you're making lots of money. That's a good thing. Set money aside for taxes, for sure.
Jonathan McCarter. How do you organize everything from calls, leads, and notes on them? Do you use a CRM? Yes, Jonathan, we do use a CRM. You can do a lot of this if you have batch dialer, or any dialer, really. We use batch dialer just because it's they're they've got some really interesting things specifically just for wholesale, filtering out DNC, making sure that you can track everything and keep it all organized. And they make sure that your caller ID is getting updated all the time. There's Batch Dialer. So the dialers do a lot of that. I would not, if you're just getting rolling with this thing, do not get stuck in a CRM. Can you show, Alejandro, or Daniel, can you grab me my CRM that I used for the first $1.5 million, that accordion binder thing? I'll show you what I used. But do not, Jonathan, this is quicksand for a lot of real estate entrepreneurs, a lot of real estate wholesalers, is messing around in their CRM too much. Now, Mark might, think otherwise, but this is what I had. This is my CRM for the first $1.5 million, right? I would put my leads in 1 through 31. If it was the 25th, I pull out 25th, call the leads, write my notes, put them back in there, and then January through December, it would be, I'd pull August, put them in here, and then I would be making my calls. That was my CRM. That's how I stayed organized. Just watch it. Just don't let the CRM be quicksand for you, Jonathan. It really, really, especially for if you've got an analytical brain, which is beautiful, that's fine. But you can really get stuck in there for a few weeks and then all of a sudden nothing's happening. So remember, income producing activities first, of actually having quality conversations with distressed property owners, and then get organized.
I love how you say that. Income producing activities first.
Yeah.
I mean, that summarizes it perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, for those that are observing this, if that's the only thing you take away, I've actually never verbalized it quite like that. I actually really like that. Income producing activities first. And to your point, yeah, my franchisees would go crazy if that was our solution for the accordions for, but at the can you imagine?
That's why I don't run this thing. That's why you do.
No, can you imagine? But I will tell you that if you get too hung up on the softwares, you're missing the point. You have to have leads to even worry about the software.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, Jonathan, I had a custom one built out by Rafael Cortez, a Wholesaling Inc. coach. It's bananas. It's very expensive, but it is really, really, really solid. And you can reach out. You can DM Rafael Cortez if you're in that position. I used Investor Fuse for years and years and years and years. They do a great job. That's a monthly subscription. So there's a couple resources for the Investor Fuse. Those guys do a phenomenal job, have a great heart, and are investors themselves. Rafael Cortez just built the Rolls Royce of CRMs. So there you go. What is the best way to get tax delinquent leads? Go ahead.
All right, so I am funny about this because you say details, numbers, that type of thing. I geek out on this. So obviously you have providers that you can buy these from. In fact, I think even PropStream will produce you a list.
Yep.
So really a plug for them. They do a fantastic job. But I also want to make sure that I'm getting accurate leads, and I want to be I want them to be timely too. I don't know when they're pulling them, how accurate they are.
Right.
And obviously their criteria might be slightly different than mine. And so I always like the idea of working with the county, directly.
Yeah.
Now in the early days, it's not, it's hard to call that an income producing activity in the sense that if you're spending too much time on just producing the list, you're missing the point. Mm-hmm. So there's other activities that are more important, but there's a time in a season if you can have a virtual assistant or somebody do it so that you're not getting distracted by it. I like to procure my own list any chance I get.
Yep.
And that's actually working with the county directly.
Hey, Matt, will you show my screen real quick here? So this right here, JR, if you could see, this is just PropStream, ttpdata.com. You got the list right here, tax delinquencies, and that'll pull it up. Now, it is more accurate coming from your county, and what I will say is this. Most of I would say every deal that I've done, it doesn't come just from the tax delinquency list. It comes from another list, but they're also delinquent on taxes. So it's kind of an interesting type of list. It's like a code violation list. Well, if you drove for dollars and you saw that the house is totally overgrown, or they've got cars, or it's a junkyard or whatever else, and they're getting code violations, you can see that driving for dollars. So what I would say is test the tax delinquent list through PropStream. If you go to the county, the issue with the county is typically they give it to you in a format that you have to then decipher. Here in Phoenix, it was true. It is crazy. You have to have a VA go to 80 hours worth of work to
They
just
have
figure
to have
out what
a
everything
master's
is.
in numbers. Yeah, that's the problem. Is you are opening up the can of worms, and actually working with your team. You're exactly right. In Phoenix, it actually is a joke. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of records. It's a repository of historical data, so it's not overly helpful. So there's, again, leveraging software is super important.
Yeah.
There are some specific lists, though, that I like to get myself any chance I can get. I mean, there's lots of lists, right? I think there's 30 or 40 different life situations that you could potentially target, code violation, bankruptcy, whatever those things are. And not everybody has them, or you wonder how often they refresh them. So you just have to ask yourself, can I create a system that affords me more accurate information? You know, and there's a time and a season, because we just got done saying focus on the things that make you money.
Right.
And if you're doing too many of those things, you're actually doing the opposite of that.
Awesome. Awesome. Anthony, all right. What is the foundation to starting a wholesaling business?
This is good.
All right.
How do you say his realtor group there?
White shirt.
White shirt.
Yep.
All right, you want me to start?
Sure.
What is the foundation to starting a
Because you're going to
wholesaling
go, bah, and I'm going to go, bah. Go for it.
The foundation for starting a wholesaling business is, I think you have to have, you know, clarity on where you want to end up, right? That's Stephen Covey. You're like, what are my intentions? Like, where do I want to be, you know, see the end in the beginning type thing. All right, I want to be a $500,000 revenue company. I want to be $1 million company. So the foundation is, all right, who's going to be doing what? And if am I committed to the cause? I remember when I first started in wholesaling, I had to make a list on a note card, Brent, of all the things that would have to happen in a bad way for me to be willing to quit. I was nervous. I had a good gig that was paying me over $100,000 a year for year after year after year. I was a good sales guy, enjoyed what I was doing, but I'm like, all right, I've got to make a transition to the entrepreneurial world. But I had to declare what had to happen on the negative for me to walk away. So foundationally, I had to put myself in a position to succeed. I had to get myself there that I was committed. I had to have a plan. I had to get crystal clear on what I wanted to accomplish. And so for me, it's getting clarity as to what you want to accomplish is the foundation of your wholesaling business. Obviously, great people, clarity on what you're going to do as far as marketing, those things. But for me, it's personally, you have to get clarity on what you're trying to accomplish.
Anthony, hey, Matt, will you dig up that one where it's the foundation is wholesaling and all the other pillars? So here's the thing, Anthony. You have your license, so that's fantastic. You are already down the path of understanding that you want to be a real estate entrepreneur. Now, it's just understanding that being able to find discounted properties, to be able to source discounted properties is the foundation of all real estate investing. So I assume that you wanted to get into real estate to be a real estate investor, right? Well, then you get into real estate, you start becoming an agent, you start understanding those things. I get it. But at some point, you're going to have to make that transition to putting your efforts towards finding discounted properties. Go ahead, Matt. You can pop that up. I mean, this is it. Finding discounted properties is the foundation, and then you start fixing and flipping and building your rental portfolio and developing and being the bank and coaching and mentorship, right? But it all starts with finding discounted properties. Well, what do you do to do that? Find ugly houses, talk to the homeowners, and see if they're ready to sell. That's it. That's it, brother. That is the foundation. Ugly properties. Have a conversation, quality conversation with the property owner, and get them under contract, and you're off and running. That is the foundation. So it's just talking to people. It's just building it up. Oh, boy. Eric Holiday. I never got a chance to tell the TTP family that I finally closed my first 2 deals after 4 months for a total of $32,000. This Eric's cold with it. $32,800 profit. Working on my next one as we speak. Closes in 14 days. Ring that bell. You know I will, Eric. Here we go.
Congrats, Eric.
That is incredible. $32,800.
Isn't it so fun? I mean,
2
real
deals.
estate, that's bonkers. Or bananas,
It's
right?
bananas.
And what's
You
so
can
cool
go
about
bonkers.
that? Dude,
That
I
could be
love
your
this.
thing.
Okay, bonkers is my thing.
Okay.
So right now I'm declaring it. Mark Stuber on the 25th
Yeah.
of August
Yeah.
has declared bonkers my tagline.
That's it. Good.
All right. Can I get a copy?
I like what's going on. I like the shirt with the simple look. Look at you. Listen.
Bonkers. Hey, that's our next. Okay.
That's good.
But here's what's so great about what he accomplished there. That changes your business to make $32,800.
That changes your life.
It does, Brent. That's incredible. So congrats,
His
Eric.
first 2 deals. Here's the thing. The most beautiful thing about that, Eric, is you know you can do it. Not only that, but you know you can do it on a high level. What I will challenge you to do is keep thinking bigger. And the next time you post, I mean, you could post every time you do a deal on here. I'd love it. But in the next 90 days, Eric, you need to post that you made a 50K or bigger deal. All right? 50K or bigger. Right? Our mental antennas, we start looking for these opportunities and then we find it. That is the rocket fuel that really opens up the schedule. If we keep all that money, we keep growing, doing the things that got us that, and start building from there. So congratulations, Eric. I'm super happy for you. I mean, incredible. Addison. How much should you have in the bank account experience before you transition into... Oh, Addison! This is a great question. This is really good. Or does it depend on lender relations? This is great. I love this.
I like that. One other nuance of that is the timing of your business. Financially, that's one thing. But anytime flips become a distraction to the marketing,
yes,
then you shouldn't be doing flips.
Speak on it.
Yeah,
Talk
so
about it.
What I found is, for us, Cody and I, we didn't do a single rehab for the first year. In fact, we did one the second year, but really we didn't start until year 3. We had plenty of money in the bank. I mean, we were just swimming in it. Scrooge McDuck, you know, that room with the gold coins. Not quite, but we had finances. But it wasn't so much about the finances. It was, did we have the capacity to take on a rehab without getting distracted? Because at the end of the day, if I'm in there hanging a mirror or doing anything, even the final touches of a rehab, and I'm not talking with the seller, then I shouldn't be doing the rehab, plain and simple. So that's my answer. Is it's, you know, financially, sure, yes. I like having quality relationships. At the end of the day, I better answer your question. I do think there's a time and a place where you can at least put down the 20% that the lender likes to see. You have plenty of money for the rehab cost, and financially that still leaves you a nice, 3 to 6 months worth of reserves in your account. But to me, the distraction is as important as the question financially.
I'm gonna throw something crazy on.
Let's hear it.
300,000, Addison. 300,000. That's what I want in your savings account. 300,000.
What's so cool about that challenge is that's a lot of money. So for people that have that
after
much
tax.
Yeah, that's a ton of money.
That's a ton of money.
To have that
but
in your
guess
account
what?
is a special
Do you think
thing.
they got their processes set up for wholesaling? You think
Absolutely.
they know how to source opportunities? I'm telling you, that was always, it stuck out to me. I had this mentor, Brian North, and I said, how much money in your account do you feel when you feel like you're okay? He said 300,000. I was like, wow, that's great. You know what I mean? And then you get 300,000, you're like, it does feel great. You know what I mean? But what I would say, Addison, is it's just a challenge. Have 300,000 in there until you to transition. Also, you have to ask the question, don't think that that's your natural thing that you have to do. Right? I think flips are fantastic. I think that we're in a flip market for sure. You're going to see more and more videos from us on this channel about the flips that we're doing. Very light remodeling on it. You're going to see a lot of other people talk about flips because they're truly, this is like the 6-figure flip era right now, which is fantastic, and I think that there's opportunities for that. But just don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. So, 300,000. There you go. And Addison, if you don't want to do flips, if you don't want to pick out colors, and you don't want to pick out flooring, and you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of which appliances are better, and which fans are quieter, and which decor you want to put into these things, then how about you make a ton of money and you become a lender? How about you get a ton of money and turn that money over to a private lender that gives you 8 to 10% and just sends you checks every single month?
Because that lender doesn't have to worry about a toilet.
No.
They don't have to worry if the toilet leaks.
No. Listen, the fact is the banks win. Always. Not only do the banks win, you can build up a certain amount, put money into a private capital company that's lending all this money, get that, have them compound it, not even give you the checks, have them compound the money that you have. Now you're doubling your money every 7 years. If you're getting 10%.
Which is bonkers.
Come on.
I mean, it's incredible.
It's bananas. So, inner mind investing. I love that. Inner mind. I love that. You got to invest. How can I start an out-of-state wholesaling business? Where's the best place to start, and how many boots on the ground people do I need? I will tell you that Idaho, Georgia, North Carolina. Idaho, Georgia, North Carolina. Yep.
That's.
Why are you looking like that?
I love that I have these long-winded answers sometimes, and you're just like, boom, 300,000.
Well, I'm just telling you, those three places
That's
are
a gift
interesting.
you have to be
and
very
then-
specific.
Well,
love it.
all I do is coach all day, so
I
I
love
know what's going on. So, yeah, those three markets seem to have a lot of growth, a lot of people going to it, a really nice price point, and the properties are older, so there's a conveyor belt of opportunity. Listen, the whole country's open. I could tell you Phoenix and you would be successful. So it doesn't really matter. What I would say is get 2 different places, test them out. How do you get boots on the ground? How do you do it?
You know, so I would actually take it that way. I would tell you that you would choose the market based off the boots on the ground. I'm really big into building a quality team. So if you're deciding Phoenix versus Georgia, let's be honest, Phoenix is quite arguably the hardest market or competitive market in the U.S. But if I have my most horsepower from a talented individual to work with, my team member is in Phoenix, I would select Phoenix over Georgia because that's how important I think it is to work with quality people that are willing to get after it, that are teachable, that are hungry, that are, you know, in the trenches working hard. I would select my area by the quality of the individuals that I'm working with.
Well, how do you know until you test out an area?
Well, yeah, you'd start there.
I mean, do you just
start with your people.
Do you just put out like a, hey, who wants to be in real estate around the country and hope somebody responds, and then you give them a test run? Like, how do you do that?
Well, let's talk.
How do you start with the people instead of the market?
Well, you started with Ryan, is your acquisition guy.
Right. And I went to college with Ryan. Like, how do you do this out of state?
Who do you know out of state?
Right.
So it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to kid anybody. And it might be a friend of a friend. But the most successful team members, people that you're going to associate with, oftentimes come through the network that you may not even already know that you have.
It always has. Like I see
crazy.
Every time, and you know the deal that I had with our previous acquisition manager. Sure. We put out to LinkedIn. We put out to Indeed. Yep. We had some great talent, blah, blah, blah. Don't stay, did a terrible job, right? And then you go into your network, you put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram, you start talking to people that you think have some potential, and then all of a sudden you've got the best, this is the best year we've had.
It's incredible. And I will tell you that it's not easy. So if you think, well, you know, I tried for 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever it is, and I couldn't find anybody in Georgia, so I'm just going to go there anyway. Again, I think with the correct principles, you're going to succeed. But if you're asking my opinion, I'd say, work diligently, put in the extra work, find that talented individual that's through your network that might be in Idaho, might be in Utah, might be, you know, in any market, but they fit the mold of somebody you can grow with and is ambitious. That to me is
incredible.
Yeah, super important.
And in case Center Mind missed earlier in the show, average price point, $150 and up. And then is there a market size? I mean, how many people that you look for?
I like anything over 500,000. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? At some point, if you're in a smaller market, you're going to either have to get into different strategies like fixing and flipping and developing and some of these other things, or you have to expand if you want to wholesale. You're just going to have to get more fresh addresses, more fresh lists in to be able to do that. All right, can we get that? By the way, guys, if you're getting value out of this and you have not subscribed, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We come out every single day and give you the content that you need to be successful out there, give you that energizing enthusiasm. So make sure that you are subscribing to this channel. Also, if you're looking for the toolbox, and this is completely free. This is just for you. Obviously, you're in our world, but ttpinsider.com. We have the most unbelievable free resources available on planet Earth for wholesaling real estate. I am telling you, it's not even close. It's not even close. This is the nitty gritty. This is all compounded over the last, we've been working on this forever. So, 100 years. Yeah, 100 years, Mike says. It feels like that. But really, this is the nitty gritty. This is straight to it. This is no fluff. Make sure you get into ttpinsider.com if you have not, and make sure you get those free resources in the toolbox and the free courses. All right?
I would just add to that there's just incredible value bombs that Brent is dropping. So take it seriously.
Yeah.
Get on the insider.
Before you put on the next question, I have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
Can we put on the board? Can you put on the board, if I were to draw a big circle and say, this is where your deals come from, right? Marketing-wise.
Yes.
Lead generation.
Yep.
Oh, boy. What did I do here? Lead generation. What does this look like, Mark?
Pie chart. Where is it?
What is cold calls? And the mic's here. What is cold calling? What is Facebook? What is PPC? What is referrals?
Sure.
Like, give me a percentage that you're saying, and this could be your company, this could be the sum of the 30 franchises that you have. You got the overall view here. I think that this is really interesting to give everybody perspective.
Well, that's what I like, is we're able to leverage.
Stand over here. Yeah.
We're able to leverage the results, Brent, from all the franchises and say, all right, what's working for people, and then we're able to collectively share that data among everybody, so that everybody is getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I will tell you that if I were to draw, and again, can this have an erase if I'm not the best artist? Look, I've already. Yeah,
you're good.
Okay, so I would say something like this. Not quite is web, and web is great, but it's not. And it's not half, so it's probably somewhere in the range of 35 to 40% is web.
What's the average budget that somebody's spending in the franchise on web?
Yeah, you need to be spending.
Because there's a minimum.
Yeah, I mean,
in my opinion.
In my mind, you can't spend less than probably $4,000 a month in ad spend alone if you even want to be relevant.
Right.
Right. I mean, just you're not gonna have success at all.
Yeah.
Web is beautiful, but again, web. There's lots of nuances to it. It's the retargeting, it's the Facebook, it's the PPC, which is the paid ad, and then it's the SEO, so the organic findings.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at your ad spend, you need to have a collective spread of that. So that's why the budget increases pretty quickly.
Okay.
And you need to be committed. A lot of people, don't ride that, that wave long enough, and so they go 3 months without a deal and they hop out. So web's a big.
By the way,
component.
just for everybody. We have increased recently to 15,000 in our company, 15,000 a month in web. We started about 6 weeks ago, 2 deals from a Facebook ad for 105,000. Now we just need to see that more because I don't want to give back that 105 to it. So,
but the reality is, to that point, you could literally go 6 weeks without another deal, and then you'll get a $20,000 deal. And but then as you look over a 6, 8, 10-month period, you can see the consistency. You just happen to get front-loaded, right? Which is a beautiful thing. And that's
and I really like it because it's not a majority. 90% of our leads are coming from cold calling. They're just from our cold calling efforts. And then filtered through to the deals. You get web leads, it's like you get like 5 leads a week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But one of them's good.
And when
it's very interesting.
Because somebody's sitting on their couch saying, all right, I've reached my breaking point. I need to get results now. I'm going to email or I'm going to reach out to somebody.
Yep.
That's why it becomes such a hot lead. And I will tell you, your vendor that does your expertise in the web is obviously mission critical.
Yeah.
Like, if you try to do it yourself, more power to you.
Yeah.
But there is a science, there is an art, and having a very skilled individual is mission critical.
Awesome.
Okay, another, if I were to guess on my drawing here, this is going to be our prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
And prospecting meaning, that does says prospecting, but the idea of outbound calling, texting.
Yep.
We're getting out of texting because of all the changes and limitations.
Yep.
But prospecting, so that's a lot of the TTP method of getting out and calling people.
Okay.
That leaves the rest, which is a pretty equal portion to the web.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining is direct mail. And then you have a sliver here, which is growing.
Referrals.
Which is referrals, and we have a relationship manager that works with our cash buyers. And
what's the average spend on direct mail?
Direct mail, we're somewhere in the range of $10,000 to $20,000 a month.
Right.
But right in that $13 to $50 per month in direct mail spend, and that's just in one market. That's Utah.
Good. Yeah. Come back. Awesome. That should open up some questions. But that's real. I mean, that's showing, listen, once you start getting into it and start investing into your marketing, you got to have a decent budget. Right there, it's, anywhere from, what'd you say for web? 4,000 minimum? 5,000 minimum?
Yeah.
So a $5,000 minimum and then a $10,000 minimum for direct mail?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it
So
starts to add up.
15,000 in marketing
It starts to add up
minimum for as you grow, though. I mean,
Right.
this is any company, this is any business that isn't completely based on referrals.
That's right.
You're either calling, right? You're either being proactive. You're waiting. You're getting referrals, waiting for referrals, or you're buying the calls to come to you,
That's
which
right.
is marketing.
That's right.
You got 3 options.
And the interesting thing is, if people are ordering T-shirts
Yeah.
or little widgets or gizmos, they almost feel better because they spent $15,000 on a gizmo that I guess they could sell on eBay or something later. It's almost like because they're buying something tangible, it's more comfortable for them. I'm experiencing that with our franchisees. It's like, no, I know you're not getting a gizmo or a gadget to sell later, or that you have a big box of shipment show up that you spent $15,000. It's that different. It's that.
Well, you're not buying a product. It's a service. It's a service of getting people to call you.
It makes people nervous.
I'll tell you what. I'm looking at myself on this mirror, and all these salads I'm eating, I'm getting lean. Look at this guy. Holy cow!
But yet you won't arm
I'm
wrestle
melting
me.
away. I don't want to do that to you, dude. You're gonna break your elbow.
Mike,
he's on Steve.
Who do you have money with, Mike?
Come on. He's on Steve Tring's show later today. Yeah, he's on the.
And he'll arm wrestle me.
Yeah. That one I'll watch. That one I'll watch. Yeah. All right. Johnny Homebuys. There you go. What is your response to the objection of owner-occ when they like everything you're saying, but they don't know where they could move? Or prices are too high to buy another place? This is great. You deal with this all the time. Go for it.
Yeah, if I understand your question correctly, you're saying if everything they're saying about where they could move. So the limitation is, hey, I want to sell, but their hands are tied as to a solution plan B. And the truth is, you're never going to successfully navigate plan A or executing a purchase contract until your seller can visualize plan B. So they're hung up on that. Where am I going to go? What can I afford? And that's what we were talking about at the beginning here, of connecting with them and helping them solve their problems. You can get creative. We actually had one of our franchisees, true story. He bought a home and then went and bought a trailer, and the seller of the other property came with him to the sales appointment so that they could walk through the home. Yeah. So they're now watching him negotiate the price of the trailer, and he negotiates it, buys it, and puts the seller of this home into this new property.
Yeah.
So now that's extreme.
Yeah.
But it's getting your hands dirty. It's figuring out how to get that person transition. There is a solution. It might be not ideal. I mean, ideal in the sense that they may want to live in a high rise in downtown, and it's like, look, you don't have the money for that. And that's one extreme. But what do they have the money for? How can you help them navigate that? And if you get good at that, helping them visualize plan B, but actually realize plan B, you'll be more successful. And that's why you're asking the question. You want to go down that road, but you've got to figure out a solution for them. You've got to be involved in that solution, and it will pay you lots of money if you can help them solve that problem.
Johnny, why do they want to sell? Okay, that is what is their motivation? Is their motivation greater than this little bit of turbulence that they're going to feel moving out and finding somewhere? Because if it's not there, I am telling you, I made this mistake so many times that I wanted to be a deal creator and not a deal finder. Yeah. And once I realized that I'm a deal finder, not a deal creator. Now listen, I'll facilitate. I will do anything to remove any obstacles that they have from making a decision. Absolutely. But they have to want to sell it. Right. They have to want to move. They have to want to go through that process. Because I'll tell you, so many times I've lined everything up perfectly for them. Like white glove treatment, got them an agent, got them all their listings, got everything lined up, got whatever they needed, cash for keys, the whole thing, and they still didn't want to move. They still didn't want to make a decision. They still weren't there yet. So make sure that they're at that point. If you can shorten their timeline, because time kills all deals. Listen to me. Time kills all deals. If you can shorten that timeline and they really want to move, really want to sell, they're living in this place, this is their place, now they got to find somewhere else. Make sure it's just not their polite way of putting up their force field and saying, listen, oh, I can't move because I don't know where I want to go. That's just them trying to be polite because they're probably an amiable personality and they don't want to tell you flat out that they don't want to sell, or they're just, you know what I mean? They're just kind of stiff-arming you and keeping you outside of their bubble. So just make sure that you're really finding out, why do they want to sell, and is this the right time? If you solve this problem, can you do it? So hit them with an if-then. If you had a place to move to, then would you feel comfortable moving forward with this purchase agreement, right? If then, if then, if then. If you're not taking out little note cards and just writing different scenarios for if-then questions, I would. I mean, I would. I mean, if you're not, I would. I would start
because
that. That's a game that I played for a long time.
Yep.
If then, if then, if then. If this happens, then that. That is open-ended questions, and it goes into, it makes paths for a conversation.
Yeah, you're able to determine right there, right then, are they motivated? Can they benefit from my service? If I find you a solution, are you prepared to sell the home? Is this going to happen?
Yep.
I love that.
Yep. There you go. Dave Murphin. Brent, how do you handle buying properties with existing tenants? Do you dispo with tenants or clear tenants before closing? Yeah, great question, Dave. So, and this is IG. So, yeah, if they've got tenants it's a lot easier to sell those properties if it's vacated, right? If nobody's in there. Right. So we try that first. If that's not possible and we still want to put the deal together, then we just explain to our buyers that they're going to have to work with these tenants. Now, typically what we'll do is we'll put in, and you're going to have to check wherever you're at, whatever state you're at, and just figure out what the regulations are. But we give them a 30-day, we give them a 5-day notice to a 30-day notice, just to let them know that somebody is buying the property and that they don't have a long-term lease. It's month to month, so you have to give them enough time and enough notice so that they can move to the next place. Some places it's like 8 months. I think Oregon's like 8 months or something. It's crazy. But here in Phoenix, it's 30 days. And so just check whatever it is, how much notice you have to give a tenant in your state. Just Google it, honestly. Just how much notice do I have to give a month-to-month tenant to vacate the property in Georgia, in Nevada, in wherever, and that should pop up and give you a good indication. But typically what I try to do is I try to have that conversation. My acquisition managers have that conversation with the tenants, see what their plans are, see if they're dragging their feet. I don't want to, the sellers will typically tell you in these situations, good luck dealing with them. Oh, good luck dealing with them. But the beautiful thing is when you step in as a third party, you're not the bad guy. The bad guy is the landlord for whatever reason. They stop by at 7 a.m. on Saturdays and they wake up the dogs and they bark and I can't get right. Like they have problems with the landlords. The tenants are like, they don't pay on time and this and this and this. Like there's this rift between the two of them. Right. You get to play middleman. You have no dog in the fight type of thing. And so typically the tenants are really cool. They've been really, really cool with us. And there's a path for them to get out. It's very difficult to dispo a deal where, especially with the eviction moratorium, where there's not a clear path on where the tenant is going to go.
Yeah, you've got to work hard to make a connection with these tenants and figure out what their problem is. And if you can help them solve that problem, and again, you're not the bad guy. You're coming saying, hey, look, I'm just here to buy the home. I'm here to find a solution. And the cash for keys idea, finding a solution to get them out as soon as possible. And we've had a success navigating a high percentage of them using what you're saying, just connecting with them, going out, meeting with them, and figuring out ultimately how you can solve their problem. And because ultimately they have to leave the home. And even if they are there and they shouldn't be, they haven't paid rent or whatever, you can actually still get them out in a high percentage just by making a connection with them and finding the best way to help them navigate so that they can move.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Please.
Rentals. You cherry pick from your own deals?
We do.
Talk to me about it.
So it's been
because everybody here, look, there's passive income, right? That's the top of the mountain, right? That's where we're all hiking up there, right?
Sure.
We start out finding deals. We start off replacing our income. We start off paying debt off. We start going, and then we start buying assets, and now we're going to passive income, right?
Right.
Well, cherry picking great properties that you find through your marketing, through your prospecting efforts, is a good way to get up that mountain faster.
It is. And I will tell you, it's been tough. I think you can relate to this. It's been tough to cherry pick deals right now because, we'd get something in our pipeline and then we'd say, all right, we're keeping this. And then we'd blast it out to our buyers just to test the waters as to what it is. And you'd get some crazy, insane.
Can't test it. Yeah.
You get some crazy, insane offer and you end up taking that offer sometimes. So in order to take down these properties, you don't send them out because, all right, I'm setting myself up for failure because somebody's going to offer me a lot. But you just have to have clarity on what you're trying to accomplish that year. Hey, I want to add, X amount of passive income, or I want to add, an asset,
What's
this
your goal?
much. Yeah.
What's your goal, personally?
Well, if we can add.
No, not me. You. What is your passive income goal? When are you like, I'm there? Mark's flag at the top of the mountain, the financial freedom mountain. You're standing there with your flag. What is that number?
So 20,
Passive.
passive, where you don't have to think about it. 25,000 passive to me is an extremely attractive number.
Love it.
Where it's coming in.
25,000.
Yeah. Which, again, I think that I'm creative enough and I'm going to be working hard enough. I'm going to be in the trenches enough with other things that that just affords you the opportunity to not have to worry about finances.
Sure.
But, that's a baseline that I think that I'm not there yet, but a very attractive number.
The beautiful thing is, and I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow, actually, with Ryan Zolan on the Million Before 30 show that we're starting tomorrow. But it's interesting. When you start, your income is equal to the amount of value you provide to the marketplace, right?
Sure.
The amount you want to make $1 million, you got to provide $1 million worth of value. Now, the interesting thing is, what happens is when you start making this income, you take that, you go into that investor quadrant.
Yep.
You invest in something. One, you can get equity in real estate. That's why real estate is unlike everything else, right? You can get equity and build up your wealth
very quickly.
Very quickly, especially if you're sourcing your own deals. But two, your money in that deal is providing housing, which is a value, and you get paid monthly on that. So now your money is actually kind of extending the amount. It is extending the amount of value you can provide to the marketplace.
Yeah,
That's wealth.
thing. That's wealth.
That's wealth.
Yeah.
Just summed it up.
You've heard it here today.
I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to be an economics professor. All right, let's move on. J.S. Shields, 35. I like that. That was my college football number. I can't seem to build a big enough list. I work full-time. Best solution. I'm not exactly sure which list that you were building. I don't know if it's a cash buyer list or if it is a seller list. Seller list should be pretty easy. If you have ttpdata.com, PropStream, you can pull all of those lists. You get 10,000 addresses a month with ttpdata.com. So that one's easy. So let's assume that you were talking about your cash buyers list. How would you build a cash buyers list, Mark?
At the end of the day, you can utilize some very talented virtual assistants to build a buyer's list.
Talk to me.
And you don't necessarily need to be, working in it yourself full time. You can leverage talented people. In fact, you can buy buyer's lists now. You can trade with other wholesalers once you get a decent sized list. But it's just taking that action and getting a virtual assistant trained, whether it be through social media. And just leveraging any investor groups. There's lots of ways to put somebody else on the task so that you're busy at work making money so that you can afford yourself the opportunity to be a business owner, but have somebody else at a very inexpensive rate cranking through and building a buyer's list.
Love it.
It's just a consistency.
So where do you get these VAs?
We've used Upwork, but really, again, Brent, I'm telling you, you just have to look for 5 minutes and you can find yourself, at least a site. And then obviously you can go through the process of vetting a few. And again.
So what do they do? How do they find you buyers?
So a lot of activities, but in today's world, it's just, the Brent Daniels of the world to make it super easy. They just start talking about all the different groups out there and real estate opportunities. Just like you found Brent and you're learning. There's groups out there that are, actively looking for properties. Associate with them. Have the VA dive into those groups. Ask them if you can add them to your buyers list, specific to your marketplace in the area that you're focusing on.
We have in the ttpinsider.com, we have a cash buyer pack that me and Mr. Mahoney put together. And you could literally just download that and turn that into job descriptions for your VAs. If you don't have it, if you don't have the budget to do that, you're going to have to put it in yourself. But you can do a lot of damage getting $4, $5 an hour?
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be paying more than $4 or $5 an hour.
Okay. Got it. Awesome. Ricky Bobby 3, love the picture. PropStream. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Number one is driving for dollars. 80% of new real estate wholesalers are going to get their first deal from driving for dollars. That's simply driving around, finding the ugliest properties in your community, in your marketplace, in your city, and getting the info for those property owners and calling them up, right? Driving for dollars is going to be a really, really strong one, Ricky Bobby, and then you fill in the rest because you're not that's only a specific size list. Like our list here in Phoenix is like 8,000. Well, we burn through that, so we need way bigger lists, and that's what we pull from TTP data, which is PropStream. So ttpdata.com, Ricky Bobby 3. Carlos, I'm confused, Brent. This real estate agent sending me distressed properties from a wholesaler priced at ARV. Supposedly there's buyers for this, but I'm confused. Where is the profit? Carlos, there is no profit. Listen, they are just adding on top of adding on top of adding on top. Carlos, listen to me. Go straight to the property owners. All right. If you are getting it from a wholesaler or a real estate agent, they're getting it from a wholesaler who's probably getting it from another wholesaler who really went and had that initial conversation with the distressed property owner and is making 75, 80, 90% of the profit on that deal. Right. All right. People are just grabbing lists. They're just seeing properties getting blasted out, putting on a list, updating you and sending it out there and hoping that you are buying it for a different strategy. You want to live in that property. You think it's a great opportunity to do an Airbnb, so you don't care what you're paying for that property. You want to add it to your rental portfolio. That's what they're trying to get there. If you're really looking for the absolute most discounted, biggest, best deals of all time, you got to go directly to the property owner or get a referral to somebody that represents the property owner. So if you're working, Carlos, with a real estate agent, make sure that they're working directly with the homeowner, the property owner, or just source them yourself.
Yeah, you're always going to be way better off if you source them yourself, working with the seller yourself. And at the end of the day, a lot of times realtors don't fully get what the margins need to look like.
No.
They're like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to be at this price, and it's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 off of retail, and it's like, okay, that leaves nothing for no one. And they just don't fully understand, and they don't actually believe themselves that people can buy a property at the rates that you're thinking. Mm-hmm. So unless you're working with an investor-minded agent, and that comes over time as you build your network, which I'm a huge fan of. That's a great way to build, when you have investor-friendly realtors that are working directly with the seller, and they can hand you an offering, that's something. But the mainstream agents bringing you a deal that at a retail price, yeah, you're going to be better served investing time, marketing, and reaching out to the seller directly. The vast majority, Brent, of our franchisees, I would tell you 90% of the transactions come not through agents, but directly with the seller.
Yep. All right. I'm putting you back on the whiteboard.
Okay.
All right. Come over here. So when a lead comes in for you guys, whether it's prospecting, referral, whatever it is,
okay,
what is the process? What is your sales cycle? Who does it go to, and then who does it go to, and then who does it go to? You know what I mean? How do you what I love about this, because I really want you to get into this, because it's really been changing up our business, is you don't just dump dozens of leads onto your acquisition manager.
No.
Right? They have a specific amount, and explain why. So lead, how does that go?
Okay. So first off, we put a ton of emphasis on live answer.
Yeah.
So we're trying to capture like 100% live answer. So it starts
marketing.
there.
Yeah.
For marketing. So when a lead comes in, yeah, different from making out
right.
outbound call. We're going to, or if it is a web lead, or one of our callers generated a lead, we want to get to within minutes. So the timeliness is where I'd start any of it.
Yeah.
We're really big on the timeliness.
By the way, Mark's not allowed to say it because of whatever franchise. Multi-million-dollar wholesaling business. Okay, go ahead.
It's been fun. I feel fortunate to be in real estate.
No, go ahead.
But it does start with the timeliness. It does start with that activity level. So for us, it's your lead manager.
Oh, you got to go a little lower.
Okay.
There you go. Lead manager, okay.
Okay, so it's your lead manager takes the lead, and the overflow goes to our acquisition managers. And the reason why is I want my lead manager to be able to filter out the crap. Because let's be honest, you're going to have people,
this is
or
my
even
Jackie. People,
yes,
yeah,
or your chat even.
Yeah.
Somebody, Jackie's actually doing a lot of the filtering.
Yeah.
But saving from the acquisition manager, just talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Because if the acquisition manager, and look, in the early days, the owner's taking all the calls, or the acquisition manager's taking them all. But in an optimal setup, I'm going to have somebody that can take all the pound sands and take me off your list and all that. Have somebody else take those leads.
Yeah.
But here's the best part of taking the answer live or a call live when you're marketing list is you're also saving your time from having to chase people up just to find out that they wanted to be removed from your marketing list.
Right.
So we're really big on that. So the lead manager takes it first, then it goes down to, into the system, into the CRM. It goes to our acquisition manager.
Yep.
Now, our acquisition manager is going to do one of two things. They're going to go on the appointment, obviously, but they're going to obviously reach out to them immediately, make a connection, find out if they're motivated.
Yep.
If they're motivated, they're either going to really get out on the appointment or push it back to the lead manager, who's going to keep it on his pipeline so that he is responsible to stay in touch with them if they're in the not ready pool. If they're in the ready pool, so this is not ready.
Yep.
Not ready. This is the ready
So
pool.
this is just timing. This is like a warm lead. It's not a hot lead,
That's right.
right? A hot lead, in our opinion, is somebody that's going to sign with somebody in the next 30 days.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So if they're going to sign with somebody in the next 30 days, you better believe we're going to get there quick. And we're going to be very strategic about when we get to the appointment. We're going to show up there because at the end of the day, when you show up to the appointment is mission critical.
Okay.
Are you the first one or are you the last one?
Right.
There's a lot that goes into making sure you're there when they can make a decision. That's the other major question. Are you there at the home when they're actually going to make a decision?
Yep.
So our acquisition managers are then going to go on the appointment. They only go on the appointment if they're ready to make a decision. If not, the lead manager's taking it. From that appointment, they either A, get a contract, or B, they put it in their pipeline if it remains hot.
Okay.
Because we only want our acquisition managers managing somewhere in the range of about 30, depending on the acquisition manager, 30 to 50, probably a sweet spot of 35 to 40 follow-ups in their pipeline. Because once they get to 50, 75, 100, what's happening is they're not providing quality follow-up to every one of those families that they're working with.
Listen, everybody that's got a team, listen to this. Stop giving your acquisition managers hundreds of leads.
Right.
It is slipping through the cracks. Deals are slipping through the cracks. Go ahead.
Because the success of an acquisition manager is ultimately you want them talking to hot leads right now.
Yes.
And if you can remove any of the other fluff
Yes.
and get them focusing on that, that's going to set them up for success. I mean, the perfect scenario is they're just robots. They show up to a house, they put it under contract. They show up to the next one, and you just have them conditions. Now, obviously, there's all the stuff in between, and they have to field some of the leads. But at the end of the day, you want them focusing on their highest paid activity, which is negotiation, working with the seller.
So I've had this conversation with high-level people, right? And they're like, your acquisition manager is just an order taker. And I was like, yes.
But he's dang good at it.
Yes.
That's right.
I want it filtered so much that it is like he is going to the house to get the contract signed, to get the
That's right.
agreement signed.
Right.
That's it. Well, you pay him too much for that. Listen, there is so much nuance to getting somebody like to get it
negotiating a
done.
good deal.
Yes.
It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can remove any of those other functions, so yeah, if it's not ready, it goes back to the lead manager.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone all day long staying in touch with these people.
Yep.
And they only retain the hottest, the hottest candidates.
Yep.
Those that are going to make a decision the
Love
soonest.
it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, back to it. All right. REI with Nas. All right. Do you have AVs do acquisition or do you do it yourself when you started out? When I started out, it was me. It was me every single time. I was going on those appointments. Listen, nobody's going to care about that deal more than you, Nas. Nobody is going to care about that more than you. You are going to go out there and you're going to find that as you're starting to build up, right? As you're starting. If you just do somebody like a virtual assistant that you're paying hourly, you can test it. But I'm telling you, in my experience, the people that post that they're, or you pull back the curtain from people that say that their VAs do everything, they're in really lower markets and the deals are really small. You want big deals, you got to do it, brother.
Plus, you need the experience. You want to be in the grind so that you've lived the life.
Of course.
You'll provide your team a lot more value if you've had that experience.
It's the building blocks.
It is.
It's the building blocks of a successful real estate entrepreneurial, effort is actually going on the appointments and getting the conversions.
And screwing up, doing the wrong things, saying the wrong things, not having a successful appointment. You need those experiences too.
What do you got?
Everybody wants to skip too quickly through the quadrant.
Yeah.
Jump right into the business.
Yeah, everybody wants to go. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants to own the Lakers, right? But they're not doing this part of it. You know, I'm telling you, you put in this work right here. You do this work like you're this, but it's for you. You get here faster and you stay there. You jump to this fast, you're going to be back here real fast. I'm telling you. It's making dots. So be here, work it like that. You'll turn into this. It'll be worth it. You'll have the foundation, and then you won't be going back to that, because everybody wants to just business in a box. I'm a baller. I'm a leader. I'm the boss. Like, no, put in the work. The people that put in the work are the people that are the most successful long term, right? Jesse on our team that you guys see on the show gave me a great post from Gary Vee saying, it feels good to be a marathon runner with a bunch of sprinters. It's really, that's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. I love that. By the way, let's pop up a little, let's give him a little bit of that. I love this. Here he goes. Nothing works. Nothing will work unless you do. That is it. I'm telling you, this will work. I say it a little differently. And I don't know if it's me or I picked it up from a book or a quote or whatever, but I just said, this will work if you do. This will work if you do. If you focus on having quality conversations with distressed property owners as often as possible, you are guaranteed. Will the attorneys like that? Anyway, you are guaranteed to be successful. I am telling you, there is not a single shred of evidence that I've ever seen that says that has shown me that they've made so much effort and talked to so many people and having quality conversations and they still can't find opportunities. I'm telling you, this is one of those things. I talk about it all the time. This is like you don't have to be tall, you don't have to be short, you don't have to be wealthy, you don't have to come from like some crazy different background or whatever else. Anybody can do this if you just pick up the phone and have those quality conversations and be consistent with it.
So my question is, Brent,
Yeah.
why do so many people get into the industry and not succeed? So because you're right. I'm praising everything you said.
Yeah.
That is, you've nailed it on the head. If you work,
Yes.
it will work.
Yeah. People are afraid to talk to people. That's it.
It is.
Yeah.
They're just not.
That's why I have this mission. That's why I wear this T-shirt every single day. Like literally,
He actually showers in the shirt.
This is my message to the world. Like literally everything. It changed my life. It completely changed my life. You know, 2008 rocked me. I went into a shell. I wasn't having quality conversations, and I had to pull myself out by being brave, having some courage. And it was scary, and it was terrible, but it worked, and here we are. So, I mean, listen, if you can just focus on providing value by using your voice and that speaker on your phone and being face-to-face with people and having quality conversations, you'll win. People are just afraid to do it because they've never done it before. We're not taught to talk to strangers in school. We're not taught to pre-qualify people that own property. We're not taught how to overcome some objections and to really just understand that is the motivation of the people and not the property that really matters. Right. That is the difference. That's why some people don't work out. But the people that are brave enough and watch this, they crush it. So,
but I think that's important for everybody to observe.
Yeah.
Even you shared, now that's what, 12, 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a position where like you had to talk to people. You had to get
Yeah.
it. But I noticed a little bit of emotion when you were talking about it. Like
Yeah.
you were, even Brent Daniels,
Yeah.
Brent Daniels was nervous to talk to people. Like
Yeah.
it was
Oh, for sure.
you had to get in the grind. You were nervous about it.
Listen, when you get into a rut of just shelling up and just not, you have the potential. You've got all of these things,
Right.
that are inside of you. You still got that fire in your belly, but you're just like keeping it to yourself because you're nervous or scared. It is. You have to put in the reps, and that's it. You just have to force yourself to be proactive and to have those conversations. And you start doing that, all of a sudden the things start cracking open. All of a sudden you're out of your shell. All of a sudden you're back to providing value to the marketplace. That's
I would
where you
say
need to be.
you got to your most authentic self.
Yeah.
Because that's
For
beautiful.
Sure. Tanisha, I used to be afraid to talk to people. Now I look forward to it every day. You know what? I'm going to ring the bell for you, Tanisha. There we go. Listen. If I can do it, if Tanisha can do it, you guys can do it. I'm telling you. I am telling you. Be brave. Have that courage. Go out there. Just like understand that you have a lot to provide this community. You have a lot to provide people that will not help themselves. There is a reason that there is 11 million vacant properties based on the 2020 census. 11 million vacant properties that have been vacant for over a year in the United States. Who do you think goes after them? You think realtors? Nope. You think the state? No. Do you think banks? No. I mean, who helps these people out?
That's incredible.
Wholesalers.
I did not know that number.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's incredible. Tanisha, I would tell you, people need to see that smile, that same picture in your profile picture. You work with people, talk to enough of them. You're exactly right. And if they see that smile, that's incredible.
Yep. Nate, can you role play a wholesaler calling a realtor to see if they have cash buyers? Do you want to be the realtor or do you want to be the wholesaler?
I like the question. I'm intrigued by the question, though. A wholesaler calling a realtor. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever done this. Now, we've talked with lots of people, title agencies or whatever to figure out if they have cash buyers. But aren't those...
You be the realtor.
Okay.
Ring, ring.
Hello, Brent.
Hey, Mark. This is Brent Daniels. I know this is out of the blue, but I just saw your flip listing off of Jefferson Street, and it looked absolutely incredible. Really good job on that.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to call is I saw that you did a great job. I've got a property that's off market in that area. I wanted to see if you or your cash buyer wanted to take a look at it and see if they wanted to pick this one up and do something amazing with it.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested. Tell me more about this property.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. That's it.
Guys, he just knocked that out of the park. I didn't fully understand the context, but that was spot on.
So most of the time when you're calling up somebody that is a real estate agent, be specific, number one. Call them based on a flip that they've already done because you know that they're looking for more. And most of the times, Nate, they are the actual cash buyers. So you just want to say, hey, listen, you just want to make it seem like you're giving them all the value. You have to, not even that. It's not making them seem. It's just you have to put all the value into that conversation going that way. Great job. Great product. Congratulations. Do you want another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. There you go. Boom, Nate. Some role play. Love it. Mackenzie. There she is. When talking to owner and your ballpark price is within $15K with the seller's desired price, within that range, do prices have to be before you are willing to go on an appointment, invest more time? Ooh, this is your bread and butter, bro, because you are different than everybody else in the industry, in my opinion, on this.
I am. And hopefully we're on the same line with what we're thinking here. But at the end of the day, I am not really going to dictate ever whether I'm going to a home based off of what they tell me on price. Okay. To me, it's not relevant. Because I want to know if there's an issue. I want to know if I can connect with them. I want to figure out what their problem is, what their pain point is, and how I can provide this family value. And I don't care if they tell me $15,000 above retail or $15,000 below retail, and I'm not attracted to the price at all. I'm going to ask the price question because I want to know, but it doesn't ever. I train our team, our franchisee, do not dictate whether you go to a home based off of what they tell you on price.
Well, what do you dictate it off of? I mean, you don't want to go on unqualified appointments, so what are you looking for?
It's all the others. It's the pillars of motivation, baby. It's the pillars of motivation. It's motivation.
You're looking, what is the problem?
Yeah.
Are they opening up? Because you're not sending your guys on an appointment that's like, hey, what will you offer me on this property? And they're like, well, tell me some more. No, how much? Right?
Right. If it's a guy strictly driven on price and we can't provide them value because there's no motivation, there's no reason for us to go.
Great.
But it's all about the motivation, not the price.
Right.
Because we've gone to homes. I mean, we've all experienced it. We had an acquisition manager show up to an appointment or take the lead that says, I won't take $1 less than $195,000. Won't take $1 less. He comes back with a contract at $150,000. Yep. $45,000 off. And I'm telling you, there's people that would not have gone on that appointment because they would have been scared away by how definitive this seller was about, I won't take $1 less than $195. But the guy was motivated. The home was distressed. It was vacant. They needed a solution for it. There was a driver. There was all those things that were saying, I'm selling my home. And yet somebody would have overthought it and not gone on the appointment because of what they said about price.
Yep. Love it. Juicy Jarvis, what advice would you give to somebody? What? It's Juicy Jarvis. What advice would you give to somebody that's gotten a deal but is having a hard time scaling?
That's what Joe Homebuyer is we help. That's what people do. That's what we do is we help people build their business, right?
Yeah.
Scale their business over time. But it's a challenge, right? And I don't think it's any different than any other business. I mean, if we were trying to scale our lemonade stand, I know that I don't mean to make light of your question, but really, business scaling is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What are my issues? Having that hard conversation. Is it personnel? I don't have the right people on my team. Do I not have clarity on what I'm trying to accomplish as a company? Am I not invested enough in the company? A common problem with people in wholesaling is they're not investing enough into their company. I mentioned that people are nervous to buy or to spend money on marketing because it's not a physical product that they're buying. It's like I'm putting $15,000 out there. So it's, evaluating honestly what are the potential roadblocks in my business, having clarity on what I want to accomplish, and then working backwards, building a plan to build your business. Do I need to bring on a better acquisition guy? Do I need to receive training in acquisitions? What are those key components that could have the biggest impact in my business? But scaling is a challenging thing in any business.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a one fix, but I think it does start internally. What can I do to be a better leader? What can I do to be a better owner? And what hard questions do I need to ask to understand where am I at today and what pivots need to take place?
My advice, Juicy Jarvis, is be around people that have scaled their business.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, you can go in and see the operations. You can go in and kind of get a feel for what is going on. But be around people. If you're around people that have a scaled business, honestly, that's one of the big factors in. And I was like, if not the first franchise, I just knew that I would be around people that that wanted to scale, had good ideas, were around the country. But franchise aside, be around people that are scaling, be around people that are doing it, be around people that are successful at it, and that'll really, really help you out and give you the roadmap. And you don't have to do it all by yourself. People have already done it before. So just don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Let's put up real quick. Will you put up that little, Samuel, I'll get to it real quick. Matt, put up the little Joe Homebuyer. If you guys are interested in the franchise, Joe Homebuyer, Joe Way, the Joe Way?
The JoeWay.com.
TTP, there you go. Okay. Samuel, how do you pay yourself from your business?
Just asking, we just take owner withdrawals after, we make sure that, we have a really good controller, so we know exactly how much dollars we have in the bank, where everything's going, what projected expenses we have, and we just, the beautiful thing about an owner is you can get some nice dividends some months, and other months you may skip, or it's not as big based off of the fact that I have some goals. I have a minimum that I want to leave in my account, and I know that I've got to wait for these 3 things to close before I can get that sweet payday. So I don't pay myself until everything else is paid.
Samuel, I wait till my account gets to 3 months worth of reserves and I scrape the top. That's what I do.
Love it.
I literally do. And then I set goals based on, I work backwards on what are my personal goals. So I would look at what do I want financially, okay? And then how do I buy assets with this, okay? So I need to make $200,000 a month. I need to be able to put it here, taxes here, okay, great. And then how do I build a business that can get me that? And that's what I do.
What I like about that,
I reverse engineer how much money I want to make so that I could buy assets so that I can have that passive income, multiple streams of income, all of those things for my family. I think a lot of people are buying it either in their companies or with their partners or with everything like that. And that's fine. People can do that. I like pulling it out, putting it aside, buying things, paying off all the debts for my family, and then buying assets after that. And that's what I've been doing, and it's been great. So I set the goals based on how fast I want to get there.
that's incredible.
Yep.
The little nuance I captured from that as well, though, is you're scraping the top,
Yep.
meaning that you're requiring yourself to stay dialed in.
Always. Always.
But you're almost mandating that because you're scraping the business account and saying,
Yeah. I'll scrape it on a daily basis. Just deals close every single, you know what I mean?
I love this.
When they come in, it is like reward, reward, reward. It's got to, listen, it's got to keep you interested. Yeah. If you want to do this business for long term, if you want this to be a marathon, not a sprint, if you want to not just be a shooting, firework, if you actually want to keep this fire going for a long, 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 long time and influence your family and influence your kids and influence all these things and provide something that is rock solid, it has to excite you. Nothing is more exciting than scraping the top off of your bank account, when it gets to 3 months in reserves. I'm telling you, it's just, it's wildly inspiring. Yep. Awesome. Pujad Hamu. Can you please comp? Okay, we've got a comp here. Yeah, let's do it. So let's take a look here. This is O's to... Wait. First of all, I'd like you to post, what does this seller want? Every time you post can you comp this? I want to know, what does this seller want? I want to get a good idea here. If they're just like, throw something out, then that's when I want you to do that, that quick little calculation, 66%, 50%, and 25%. Take a shot across the bow. If they're not giving it up to you, you're asking every which way what the price is. That's what I want you to do. All right. So I got these here. You can pull it up here. So what I like doing here, Mark, and I know that you have PropStream, but you're nitty gritty in Salt Lake. Well, your team's using it more, but I like looking at where's it at in the neighborhood first, right? Centrally located, no major distractions, nothing really pulling. There's no trains behind it. It's not on a major street. There's not a big, kind of crazy commercial. This is very traditional. So this will appeal to most of the buyer pool that are looking in this price range. All right. Ooh, interesting. Let's go after that one too, Pujad. Okay, so here, look at this. Yes, finally. Well, not finally. I love it. Sometimes we're comping properties that aren't wholesale price. This is somebody that needs some help.
This is a gem.
Right? This is fantastic. So this is going to need a significant amount of rehab. Matt, will you also, in the chamber, will you have the fix-up repair cost estimate? All right, so I'm just looking at that first. Let's close this out. I'm going to do the comps. You can see that this is a 93631, right? One bath is always going to get less than two baths. Right. If they're the same size. People fighting over a bathroom is an issue, especially if you have guests over.
And I think it's important for people to remember that. Even if it's a 4-bedroom, 1 bath, and it's the only 4 in the neighborhood, sure, that could add value, but those bathrooms make a big difference.
Look at these. I mean, this is wonderful. What I like doing is I like going neighbors here and seeing they do a great job pulling the 100 comps around there, right? And then we go sale date.
Yeah, PropStream serves you well.
Come on. Let's get this thing going. I don't know what's going on with this mouse. There we go. Come on. What in the... Daniel, what'd you do to this mouse? There we go. Okay, so you've got this one interesting. Went for 185. I don't know if I trust this, but we're going to take a look at it. It looks like this one went 185, and the rest of the market's at 63, 45, 73, 30. I'm kind of feeling this. I don't know why this one is showing up at 185. It could be a package deal. Sometimes when people buy 5, 6, 8 properties, they get them all. Yeah, I would say Revitalized Group bought this as a package with some other properties. I doubt that they paid 185 for this cash. So I wouldn't use this comp. It's just an outlier. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm looking at these other ones. I've got 63, 45, 73, 30, all right here, all within the neighborhood. Let's look at and see what a $45,000 property looks like. Now this looks like it's probably livable, right? Somebody picked this up. It needs some love. It's a little bit bigger, but it's at 45. Let's see what this 73 looks like. Okay, good. Here we go. This one's done. 73 remodeled. What do you think? Top of the market?
Yeah, I would imagine for that price point, that's a pretty nice. That's a pretty nice home.
So 73,000. Okay, let's look at the breakdown here. Matt, will you pop that up? Come on, man. What in the world?
Did it crash?
Look at this.
Oh,
This is crazy.
here. Talk about that. I got it.
Anyway, so we'll look at this. So this is under 1,000 square feet. This is at 936 square feet. So, and this one is probably, wow, this is bad in my opinion. It could be needs work, but you're between that 25 and 40. I mean, you're going to have to get this thing at like 7,000, which you've seen right here real quick. If you'll show one sold beginning of 2020 for 7,000 here. So we've got let's just say you do a great job. Market's doing great. It goes for 75,000 is the ARV, but we've got 40,000 in there for the fix up. I mean, it's boarded up. It's looking rough. We got 40,000 in fix up. Okay. You know that the minimum that somebody is going to want to make on this is 20,000 if they put in the work, and then you know that 6%. What's 6% of 75,000? Does somebody have a calculator for closing costs? This is profit.
40 something hundred.
Yeah.
$4 grand, 5.
You guys get it? What was it?
What do we got?
What was it? What was the equation?
Mahoney bounced on us.
Times 0.06.
Where'd Mahoney go?
4,500.
4,500 in closing costs. So, what's this? We subtract, so that's 60, 64, 5. So you're at like 12 and some change, right? No, yeah. Let's just call it, what is that?
10.5.
10.5. 10.5 is what you can sell it at. You'd have to lock this thing up at like 5 grand. And then you make 7. This is why you go for properties that are above 150.
Yeah, this is the challenge you frequently run into when you're in that price point.
Yep.
To Brent's point. So here's a question: when do you swing the bat at this, and when do you walk away?
Well, it just depends on if you think that you could sell this to a rental buyer. I would throw out probably 5,000 to 7,000 to the seller and see what they say and get a response. And then if they say my minimum is, and they owe 25,000 back taxes.
No way.
No, run away. It's been vacant for 10 years, man.
That's why, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's I believe that the taxes are worth more. This, unfortunately, is one of those situations where it typically goes back to the bank, unless you can try to negotiate with the state, or the county, on those back taxes. But that usually is a lengthy process and doesn't really work out.
And eventually, it will show up as an auction sale at either the for tax delinquency. Yeah.
Nice. How much do you pay an AM to keep them around and motivated?
So this is the
Roger,
question.
here you go.
Can I go?
Please.
I'll start. So
Rip and run.
I will tell you that we are very biased. We actively look for high-powered acquisition managers. But when I say high-powered, those driver mentality, really good, really independent, and there's pros and cons with that. When you're working with a high-powered, they're a little more, they're ambitious, which is a great thing, and that's what helps them excel at an extremely high level. But then you're right. How do you keep them motivated? And so we have found lots of different, each acquisition manager has required something different, but we understand that giving them upside, giving them accelerators, but then also upside in terms of, hey, is there an opportunity to share in a potential rental with them in the future? That type of activity. But at the end of the day, you can also look for acquisition managers that are just the steady Eddie type, somebody that isn't as, I don't want to say they're not as ambitious, but they're not as motivated by money or becoming a business owner. And, you'll get more predictable results, but they won't also yield you these crazy,
big deals.
Big deals, or, knock it out of the park on some crazy high months. And so it's finding that balance. Do you work with somebody that, is just going to be that $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 producer each month, or the guy that can actually get these, crazy quarters and months? But you're right. It comes along with additional, hand-holding, support, and building a future for them. And you have to get creative. You have to look at ways in which you can involve them in the greater aspects of your business, which is, I don't have anything specific other than, say, rentals and things like that. But it's a challenge. It really is.
Yeah. If you guys go back, here's a quick little look here, Roger. This was a show that we did a few weeks ago, and you'll see my wholesaling business there. You see my junior acquisition and my acquisition manager there with Chad and Ryan. Base for both of them, and then commissions on top of it. So there you go.
One more question?
We've got a couple. Yeah, let's go a couple more. Well, we'll round it out. When you start wholesaling, do you focus on single family or land? Little pump. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's a deal is a deal is a deal is a deal. I mean, Cody Hoffine will tell a story of locking up the biggest deal of his life at the time.
Yeah.
A piece of land for like $2,000 or $3,000, selling for $90 or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the early days of
early days.
Yeah, that's right.
So listen, it's not either or. It's and, right? It's both. So go with both of them. I mean, it's single family is typically going to be your biggest pool of cash buyers. But some of the land deals, I'm telling you, like people will either want nothing for them or they'll want 10 times what they're worth. So I would go after both, Little Pump.
Yeah, and family deals for us have been a little more predictable. Land has some incredible upside.
Yep.
But if I could choose one to start,
Yep.
and I could be succinct with my answer finally, Brent, it would be single family.
Ooh, okay. Wow, fiery. All right.
Hey, can I go back real quick to the question before? I want to make a definitive answer to the point. I said, do you work with an A type personality, aggressive acquisition guy, or you go with somebody that's just steady Eddie that maybe isn't quite as ambitious or won't have these, rocket through the roof rocket months? I would always go for I'd rather manage somebody that has crazy ambition than not.
Yep.
I'd rather go, because when you have a high-powered sales guy, it really can transform your business.
Yeah.
It's incredible what a talented sales guy can do.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yep. Properly comp land. Kevin, so to put it simply, very, very, very easily, as low as possible. I mean, honestly, you got to pull out a price from them, but a couple different things, Kevin, that'll help you out. One is you could take a percentage of what the tax assessor value has on the land. If you just pull up here, you will see. Go ahead, Matt, put this up. If you've got PropStream, TTP data here, you're going to see land value here. If it's a piece of land and you can get a fraction, if it's in town, about 25% of this price. If it's out of town, 10% of this price. It's going to put you in the ballpark. The other thing you want to look at is if it's in a subdivision, Kevin, what would a new house sell for on that lot? And then it's a buyer or developer is going to typically want to spend about 20% of what that fixed up brand new house. If a house is on there and it's $400,000, they're willing to spend $80,000 for the lot, and then they'll put in their work, build that house, and sell it. So a couple different things there. Easy answer: take the tax assessor 25% or 10%. Or look at, if you think it's a really good area, if it's a really good neighborhood and it's an up-and-coming area, look at what a new house sells for there, and 20% of that is what a investor's going to be looking at. Good?
That's spot on.
Good. All right, awesome. Let's put up one more time. If anybody is interested in Joe Homebuyer franchise, this is how you talk to this man and get in there.
Love to talk with you.
joeway.com/TTP. I'm a proud Joe Homebuyer franchisee with the franchisor here, so very excited to see how the next few years unfold. The last 18 months have been incredible, so I appreciate you filling in for that. Integrator role, and I really love that, and the team loves it. They love going out to Utah. They love the weekly and monthly meetings. So that's been really, really, really great. So kill it on Steve Trang's show today. Beat him in an arm wrestling match. And everybody, come on up. I don't know where Mahoney just disappeared. Oh, okay. Mahoney had to pick up his son. My godson, by the way, Carter. On behalf of our team, we've got Alejandra in the crop top. We've got Daniel in the original gangster LA represent. And we've got Mr. Mercy, Matt Hill here. Thank you very much, guys, for putting this all together. Thank you, everybody. And listen, before you go, tomorrow, 10 a.m., same time as this show, 10 a.m., Millionaire Before 30. Millionaire Before 30 Years Old. It's going to be a phenomenal new show on this channel. Do not miss it. Ryan Zolan, 23 years old. Him, me, in 1 week's time, Mark, turned 40.
That's incredible.
40, September 1st
right,
is
brother.
my birthday.
That's right.
So it's going to
The
be an
big
incredible
40.
show of understanding past the age of 30 and under the age of 30. It's going to be an incredible show. Financial literacy, to turn your kids into it. Come if you're in that age bracket, whatever. Just come and join us. It's going to be a question and answer show like this, but we're going to really deep dive on some interesting and incredible wealth building concepts. And I love you guys. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, go out there and talk to people. See you guys. Love you.